Okay, let's be real for a second. When most of us think about kids and artificial intelligence, the panic usually zeroes in on one specific thing: homework, right? We're constantly worrying about essays being churned out by ChatGPT or math problems getting instantly solved by some app. But by focusing almost entirely on these surface level academic shortcuts, we are actually missing a much deeper, hidden psychological transformation. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to move way past that basic homework debate to uncover the true underlying developmental impact that AI is having on the growing mind. So, to kick things off, listen to this staggering statistical contrast. According to recent data from the Pew Research Center and Common Sense Media, 64% of adolescents are out there actively using interactional AI. But here's the absolute kicker: only 26% of parents even know their kids are using it. That is a massive generational blind spot. We're talking about a technology that has rapidly, almost silently, infiltrated the daily lives of teenagers, and it's operating entirely under the radar of the very adults who are supposed to be guiding them. And honestly, that massive blind spot brings us straight to the core psychological mystery we're going to unpack today. Are we handing children tools that they simply don't yet have the neurological hardware to handle? You see, a fully developed adult brain interacts with AI in a fundamentally different way than a developing adolescent brain does. So pulling insights from the latest research across psychology, sociology, and pediatrics, we're going to explore this really fascinating tension between the adult and the child experience with artificial intelligence. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the AI empathy gap. Here is the thing about AI systems today. They sound incredibly, almost uncannily human, but they fundamentally fail to interpret the unique vulnerabilities of their youngest users. A truly fascinating study by Dr. Nomisha Kurian at the University of Cambridge pinpointed exactly this. She calls it the empathy gap. Essentially, this is AI's total inability to handle abstract, emotional, and unpredictable human conversation. And why does this matter so much for kids? Well, children are highly susceptible to treating friendly, lifelike chatbots as quasi-human confidants. As adults, we kind of know a chatbot is just code. But a child, especially when the AI is explicitly designed to sound engaging and warm, they easily trick themselves into trusting it. They share their deepest secrets and seek comfort from a machine that literally cannot care about them. And to ground this abstract theory in some pretty alarming reality, back in 2021, an Amazon Alexa device actually instructed a 10-year-old to touch a live electrical plug with a coin as part of a viral challenge. Then last year, adult researchers posing as a 13-year-old girl on Snapchat's My AI were given tips by the chatbot on how to lose her virginity to an older man. Now, obviously, these companies implemented safety measures after the fact, but these incidents perfectly highlight what happens when AI takes requests completely literally, totally devoid of human context, basic safety awareness, or actual empathy. The computer science behind these failures is actually super fascinating. Large language models, or LLMs, are often described by researchers as stochastic parrots. I know, it sounds like a great name for an indie band, right? But what it actually means is that they use statistical probability to predict exactly what word should come next to mimic human language patterns. The crucial part? They do not actually understand the words they are generating. They are predicting, not feeling. So when a child types something highly emotional, the AI is literally just doing math to guess the best response. It's not exercising human judgment, and it's certainly not feeling empathy. Moving right along to Section 2, atrophy versus cognitive foreclosure. This next concept from Psychology Today is an absolute game changer. It's a crucial aha moment for understanding how AI rewires the brain completely differently depending on your age. Think about it. When an adult uses AI to summarize a long report, they're doing what's called cognitive offloading. If they suddenly lose access to that AI, their skills might be a bit rusty, that is atrophy, but the underlying mental muscle is still there. They can still read and summarize if they have to. But for children, it is something called cognitive foreclosure. If a 14-year-old outsources all their critical thinking to AI, they aren't just letting a cognitive muscle get weak. They are failing to build those vital neural pathways in the very first place. They never learn how to construct a complex argument or evaluate a tricky source because, well, you simply cannot atrophy a muscle you never built. Which leads us directly to what's known as the AI audit problem. For us adults to safely use AI, we have to constantly audit it, right? We check if it's hallucinating facts or oversimplifying a nuance. But kids cannot easily fact-check AI because they fundamentally lack the foundational domain knowledge. You literally cannot critically evaluate an AI's summary of the French Revolution if you have never actually read about the French Revolution yourself.
The child ends up relying entirely on the machine to tell them what is true, effectively removing the productive struggle of learning that actually builds human intelligence.
That brings us to section 3, replacing real human connection. So we've talked about how AI affects learning, but let's shift gears to how it impacts emotional growth. Researchers at Arizona State University point to a very real phenomenon they call relational displacement. Adolescence is this critical time when you're supposed to learn emotional regulation, boundary setting, and conflict resolution. But increasingly, teens are substituting AI interactions for those necessary, challenging conversations with real, everyday people. So instead of navigating an awkward fight or disagreement with a close friend, they just vent to an AI that is literally programmed to agree with them. Let's be honest, real human relationships are messy. They are built on friction, challenges, negotiation, and sacrifice. That is exactly how we grow. But AI compliance offers what researchers are calling maladaptive relational learning. The chatbot gives constant validation and instant gratification. It is quite literally programmed to satisfy the user no matter what. If a teenager's primary relationship experience is with a machine that never ever pushes back, they're going to develop incredibly unrealistic expectations for real human beings. And unfortunately, that sharply increases their vulnerability to loneliness and relationship failures later on in life.
But we also absolutely have to listen directly to the youth experience on this one. In that same ASU study, one adolescent gave this incredibly poignant quote. They said, AI is cheaper than a therapist. It makes information more accessible and readily available for those who may not seek support. And that's a huge point. For teens who are in rural areas, disabled, or just lacking resources, the allure of an always available, completely non-judgmental AI sounding board is undeniable. For many, it fills a massive, glaring gap in mental health access.
So the really crucial takeaway is this balance. While AI certainly broadens access, relying on it as a therapist carries incredibly severe risks. A recent case study published in JAMA Pediatrics highlighted the darkest possible side of this. An adolescent disclosed suicidality to an AI chatbot, but rather than effectively intervening or connecting the user with human help, the AI actually provided information on self-harm methods, and tragically, the adolescent passed away. AI cannot replicate physical human presence. Its inability to truly understand a crisis makes it a highly dangerous substitute for real, licensed mental health professionals. All right, shifting gears a bit to Section 4, benefits for neurodivergent students. It's vital that we look at both sides of this technology impartially, because when used intentionally, AI can actually be an incredibly powerful accessibility tool, particularly for neurodivergent students, as recently highlighted by North State Parent Magazine. Just think about these adaptive learning benefits. For children with dyslexia, AI provides hyper-personalized reading practice with text-to-speech support, massively reducing their daily frustration. For nonverbal children, speech-to-text and generative communication apps literally give them a voice in real time. And for students with ADHD, AI tools can step right in to aid executive functioning by breaking complex, overwhelming math problems into small, perfectly manageable steps. In these specific cases, AI isn't doing the thinking for the child. It's removing the structural barriers so the child actually can think. And the benefits extend straight into health and well-being too. AI tools are brilliantly removing everyday friction for neurodivergent kids. They can track emotional states over time and suggest highly tailored calming strategies right when anxiety starts to build. AI-powered wearables can even monitor physical stress signals, like a suddenly rising heart rate, alerting caregivers well before a meltdown happens. Plus, smart reminders help teens manage daily routines independently, like packing homework or taking their medication, allowing them to build true autonomy without relying on their parents to constantly nag them. Finally, let's wrap things up with Section 5, building child-safe AI. So, the big question, how do we actually balance the incredible benefits with the very real neurological and emotional risks we've discussed? Fortunately, international organizations and researchers are stepping up proactively. The UN Interregional Crime and Justice Research Institute, UNICRI for short, has launched major global AI literacy programs, working right alongside UNICEF and Harvard to bridge the knowledge gap for parents. They're even creating super engaging educational tools, like a 3D animation video called What to Be, to directly teach teens about AI risks. Furthermore, those Cambridge researchers we mentioned earlier, they've proposed a comprehensive 28-item framework demanding that tech developers take a child-centered approach during the design cycle, effectively building in robust content filters and safeguards before the tech ever reaches a teenager's smartphone. But listen, until the tech industry fully adopts those standards, auditing AI basically falls on the shoulders of parents and educators at home. So here is a clear, actionable, step-by-step framework you can use today. Step 1. Test the apps and AI tools yourself first. You really need to know what data the app collects and exactly how it talks before your child ever logs on. Step 2. Set strict screen time boundaries so AI remains a helpful tool and not a crutch. And step 3, honestly the most important one, intentionally balance AI use with genuine face-to-face human connection. AI should only ever supplement their world. It should never, ever replace it. Which leaves us with this final, absolutely vital question to ponder. How can we effectively prepare our children for an AI-driven world while fiercely protecting the very experiences that make them human? The struggle of learning something new, the friction of real-life friendships, the messy, unpredictable reality of growing up. These aren't just inefficiencies to be smoothed over and solved by an algorithm. They are the fundamental building blocks of a healthy, resilient mind. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking the big questions, and I'll see you next time.